Welcome to The Approach Shot, the golf show that's more laughs than links, more stories than strokes, more guffaws than golfers. Here are the hosts of The Approach Shot, John Ashton and Neil Michaels.
And it is us, John Ashton, Neil Michaels, collectively known as The Approach Shot.
True.
I gotta stop saying that. It's such bad English. Today we have much more.
No, we got
we got
we got attitude. We got no money. We got no job. That's us. The Approach Shot. Hoping we got a future.
Yeah, well, after that, it may be quite limited. We do have a wonderful guest coming up a little bit.
Yes, and please do understand that his last name is spelled with one Z, or it changes everything. I do want to bring something up to your attention today because I don't believe this has crossed your radar.
Okay.
Do you remember our buddy Joe Fellini, Mr. 380 courses and growing? He is officially over 400 courses at this point. And Joe got clearance and is on an Aer Lingus plane and is on his way to start the international tour where he is going to be playing golf in Ireland this week.
Oh.
So this SOB, who has already played 400 courses here in America, is now beginning to play internationally. And of course, you know, Joe, if he's in Ireland for 7 days, jet lag be damned, he's going to be on the golf course tomorrow morning, and he's going to probably play 4 or 5 courses while he's over there.
Yeah, a day.
A day, that's right. Yeah. And the only thing that would stop him from playing, 3 or 4 is the amount of Guinness I suspect he will be consuming. We're jealous of you. We love you. Enjoy. And, I hope your plane doesn't crash on the way back, you son of a... No, I'm sorry.
I was living in New York City when Don Imus first came to town. And he came into town with great pomp and circumstance. Mm-hmm. He was one of the original shock jocks.
Yes.
And... Aer Lingus, Irish International Airlines, was one of the advertisers on the WNBC morning show.
Yeah.
They all ended with this really sexy sounding woman going, "Fly us, Aer Lingus, to Ireland." The spot ended that way, and he comes on in his gruff tone. He goes, "Yeah, and all Protestants will ride it back." Immediately upon hearing that, Irish International Airlines called the WNBC and said, "He's out of here or we're out of here. And we spent $250,000 a year with y'all." And they said, "We're going to miss you," and went to the top name on the waiting list.
There you go. Interesting that you mentioned Imus too, because I just reached out on Twitter the other day to a gentleman that I knew fairly well in Atlanta named Steak Shapiro. And Steak was the owner of the 790, the Fan, the Zone. I think it was the Zone. 790, the Zone in Atlanta. Had a bit of an attitude. I mean, the guy's named Steak Shapiro. And Imus and he had this long-running semi-feud where Steak would come on the show and try to pretend like he was something. And Imus made sure that he recognized quickly that he was not in Imus's eyes.
When he was in Cleveland, he was hilarious. And he did a comedy album called 1,200 Hamburgers to Go, which was one of the bits he did on the air.
Oh, my.
But he used to make, back before you had to preface people when you called them on the phone by telling them they were being recorded.
Yeah.
He used to just call people. And he called once a McDonald's and ordered 1,200 hamburgers to go. He also called a Avis rent-a-car location in Indianapolis, Indiana. Mm-hmm. And he called and he said, "I need a car for Memorial Day weekend." And they went, "Okay." He said, "Oh, I got a few special requests. Can you take all but the driver's seat out?" And they go, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm not going to have any passengers. It's just me. And could you tape up the headlights?" And they go, "Huh?" He said, "Yeah, I'm not going to be driving at night." And they said, well, I guess we can accommodate. She said, what name would you put that under? He goes, Foyt, AJ Foyt.
By the way, I'm only going to make left turns as well.
Yes. So anyhow, missed the man. He was great. One of the greatest. We've got one of the greatest guys coming up too in a totally different capacity. This is probably the premier golf architect working today.
Yeah, agreed. With some brilliant concepts that hopefully will be catching on soon in the States as well as it has been internationally.
His name is Augustin Piza.
Piza.
With one Z.
One Z. And no leaning towers.
Yes, he's not the guy who designed the leaning tower. You can trust him.
Very interesting man.
Yes, and he's got some great ideas, and he's thinking out of the box, as they say. We will be back with Augustin Piza right after this. Hang out. We are The Approach Shot.
When I was a kid, I used to hear my parents and other relatives complain all the time about their pain. I couldn't understand why it was always a topic of conversation. But now that I'm getting older myself, I understand. Hey, it's Neil, and especially, man, after I play a round of golf, I'm stiff, and both my knee and my right heel hurt. That's why I decided to try Relief Factor. I was skeptical anything could help me, but I'm a believer now. It's not like I feel miraculously better. The pain is just not there, so I almost forget what a difference Relief Factor has made in my life. Relief Factor is 100% drug-free. It has 4 key ingredients that support a different metabolic pathway to help your body heal naturally from both the pain and the inflammation. Tens of thousands of people just like you are using it today to become mostly or completely pain-free. So join me in this pain-free revolution. Visit relieffactor.com/approach and order the 3-week quick start. It's discounted to just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Order today, and in a few short weeks, you could be pain-free too. Go to relieffactor.com/approach and feel the difference for yourself.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Generic Sildenafil allows you to save up to $650 on Viagra. Why pay name brand prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get the same results for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 50 generic Sildenafil pills for just $99. Call 800-590-0443. That's 800-590-0443. Again, 800-590-0443.
Welcome back. This is The Approach Shot. I'm John Ashton. He is Neil Michaels. We promised you a stellar and luminary guest, and we always deliver on our promises. We want to introduce probably one of the premier golf architects. I know it says in Latin America.
Did you say probably? Did you say probably? I don't think probably.
You don't think probably?
Probably one of the great golf architects. He is.
He is one of the great golf architects. They say in Latin America, but we should probably point out it's in the world.
In the world, absolutely.
Because you don't have to, limit yourself geographically just because the man speaks Spanish. I mean, that's not fair.
Here's a hot tip. People play golf all over the world.
Don't they though? Don't they? But Augustin Piza is our guest, and Augie, thanks for coming on, man. We appreciate you spending time with us here.
Thank you, guys. I really, really appreciate it. Very well, thank you, Neil. It's a pleasure, John. It's a great always to be in contact, to be in touch, and remember, talent has no and knows no borders. So I appreciate all the comments.
Indeed.
Now, we got to get right into it, and we can go with the folks that you've brought onto your team a little bit later on. But the whole idea that is totally new with you, the whole butterfly effect thing in designing golf courses. That's going to change the game, man.
Augie, I got to tell, and I will tell you this. We were talking about this last week as he was preparing for this week's show, and he mentioned it. And the look on his face when he was talking about the concept of the butterfly effect was just mind-blowing. And then he explained it to me, and I think I had the same look on my face. Like, what? Like, how did people not think of this before?
I love that, and thank you for sharing those stories, because It only, it feeds me and it encourages me to think of, other things. It has to do with my studies. I'm a vertical architect by trade. I have a 5-year degree. I just chose to go horizontal with golf and specialize in golf course architecture. When you study regular architecture, you cannot arrive to any building that you're going to do without a justification. You are educated to have a justification, a why, and then you create the concept. It all has to do with the why, the justification or the concept, and then you create what you're creating. You cannot just throw out the pencil out there and start just nibbling about. You could, but you have to go back then. You can do it from back to front or from front to back, but everything needs to be justified. And that is what we do with our projects. We did it with wellness golf. We're doing it with multi-purpose golf. And now we're doing it with the butterfly effect, which is the 4x6. It's four routes or 4 sets of 6, obviously. And from there, we have 24 holes. By doing 6 extra holes in a butterfly form, if we may, we have all of a sudden set 1 or set A or whatever you want to call it, A, B, C, D. And now we have all of these combinations to play 6 holes, 9 holes, 12 holes, all the way up to 24. Whatever you choose. Now people don't have the time or don't want to spend the time we've always had, don't want to spend the time on the golf course. So you have all these options. Plus, if you play A, B, and C, or A, B, and D, or D, B, and C, you have between 5 and 7 18-hole combinations in one piece of land.
Yeah. It's remarkable.
And
it really is remarkable.
You have new courses at the PGA management schools on how now to direct tee times.
Yes.
It's so confusing for the golf course itself, man.
Yes, the operation side is also has to change, of course, and adapt to this new concept. Let me just tell you about the justification, the butterfly effect, or the chaos effect, if you want to look it up. For everybody that's watching, it is a theory of how such a little thing can create a resonance in our world. Like they call it the butterfly effect because the flying effect of a butterfly, that energy from, let's say, from the Amazon could come up all through America, the continent, and turn into a tornado in Kansas. That is the chaos effect, the butterfly effect. When I was reading about this and talking about it with a good friend, a good industry friend, he's like, "Hey, I really like the concept. Something so simple, like you just said. Why isn't anybody doing this? Something so simple like adding 6 holes to an 18 instead of doing a 27, a 36. All of these golf courses in one single place." Now you have a more is less, kind of a weird thing, but now more is less. With those 6 holes, you have 5 to 7 different combinations. So that means that you don't have to build another golf course in that property. And it could, and hopefully it should, disencourage any neighbor that wants to just put right there in next to you, that just want to be there and do another 18 holes. Why would he?
Let's explain this to people who haven't done the research or who haven't gotten what we've been saying. So Augie's butterfly effect is they create 4 6-hole courses that are built on the same property. So when he was just saying a minute ago, you can play A, B, and D, or B, C, and D, or any of the above. You can play 24. You can play 6. You can play 12. Especially people like on the East Coast or east of the Mississippi. When it gets to October, November, December, the light goes, the sun goes down at 6:30. You can go out and play 6, or you can on the weekend you can play 12 if you don't have time for 18. It just opens up this enormous possibility of, if you didn't have time to play for 4.5 hours, you could play for 3. That was never an option before. If you wanted to go out and play 6 because it's 4:00 and the sun goes down at 5:30, you can do that. To say it's mind blowing is not even that doesn't even give it justification.
Pops into my head, however, and it goes with the butterfly effect, with one thing happening over here affecting something happening over here. If indeed the wives' tale of there were 18 holes in golf because there are 18 shots in a bottle of scotch is true, then the entire